That's the final mock draft of the summer. You could see there, S.J. Sharkey's calling out Timo Meyer from the water there. I purposely put Chris Kreider next to Lane Hudson just to make Chris a little bit nervous there. So hopefully he's okay with that. Yeah, let's get back up on the screen here for a little bit before the draft kicks off. In the chat, we do have a comment here. Maybe this worries some. Parker, the under. He said, Ranit, looking at this group, I like this Christopher. We think alike on most of these picks. So Chris has a friend. Normally not a friend. Now you got a friend.
Wow. Most of the time, there's two worlds here. Parker's like, hey, man, I like this guy. And then you'll also see comments being like, get Chris out of here. There is no middle here with me. Either you enjoy me here or you don't. And most of the time, it's I don't. And it's fair. It's fair. I get it. It's fair. But Parker seems like a great guy. So that's.
And Parker, if you enjoy him now, check him out on the Slapshot podcast.
There you go. Right. For all Chris, all the time. There you go. Slapshot podcast.
If you thought you couldn't, if you thought you needed more of me, which you never do, but if you think so, come watch me absolutely lose my mind playing a game I willingly decide to play.
We got a full 10 like that.
We did. And unfortunately for one of our fan favorites here, Mr. Craig Cody, a.k.a. the Silver Fox, he was at his kid's hockey tryout. Hope the tryouts went well. Nobody bowed out. So unfortunately, you'll be a spectator for this one, but I believe you did sign up for the Total Hockey Now League. So you'll be in for that one. That's
way more important.
I can now peacefully not have to worry about which Minnesota player you will be taking ahead of me. I'm sad, Craig, but I'm all like a little part of me, though. I'm not completely sad.
Also, for you don't have me hovering around the 7th or 8th pick for Cale Makar.
Although I did notice that you jumped in front of me at 9, so I do believe there will be some sniping going on after how I've treated Chris for most of the mock drafts this year. So
Adam always at 10, and it's not going to go that way during the real draft. I could just see it right now. They're going to put him somewhere in. He's going to get 5. He's going to be right in the middle. There's not going to be no snake turn for him. It's going to be 5, and he has not practiced that.
And you see that Craig, we got Parker, who's Chris's friend. Now, Craig, Chris asked all of his friends and family to be ready to join us to make sure I didn't make it. So Craig thinks we got Craig thinking of Chris as an enemy here. So choose your side.
There you go. See, each one on one side. I did it. I feel a little bit comfortable, I feel good. I'm glad you're here. I hope your kid's tryout went well. I hope he's making the team. I hope he's leading the team too. Make the team and lead it. But I can comfortably not worry, and if anything, if you want to make this fun, take out your notepad next week. Like I said, next week is when it counts. So that's when I get more gray hair and worry about it.
Okay, Chris, I'm with you. So Parker the under there. Okay. Parker the under better. I keep leaving that last part out there. Parker the under does sound kind of cool, though. Either way, we're about 45 seconds away from the draft here. Our last mock draft of the season here on Total Hockey Now. Next week's the real deal, and then we'll have real stuff to talk about week to week. I got to vent for a few seconds here. I'm trying to watch the A's last game. And sometimes the TV's on for a while. If you're on the same channel, it does the "Are you still awake?" kind of power save thing. I clicked OK, and you know what happened? It's still shut off. Not happy.
Damn, you got hit with the Netflix, and they're like, "Hey, are you still watching?" And you're like, "Yeah, man." Jeez.
Yeah, I'm still watching. I'm doing a mock draft, but this is
history. Why are you judging me? Yes, I know it's been 4 hours. Yes, I'm still watching. God. I hate when they do that on Sundays. I'm trying to watch Red Zone, and they're like, "Are you still watching?" I was like, "I wish you never." Strap in.
Do you know the Red Zone channel exists? Because if you did, you wouldn't ask that question. And McDavid goes with the first pick of the draft there. We are officially underway. So here we go. On the clock now. It looks like it's Omar. I need to zoom that one in a little bit more. We can see what we're doing here.
Omar is up.
Now, it's usually this is a McKinnon deal right here, but we'll see.
You really don't want to drop McKinnon to me, do you?
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. If he doesn't take him, you got to take him.
Easy. There you go.
All right, so there's McKinnon. As he goes second overall. So we'll see. And he takes Matthews, and that's the guy who I would usually take at 3.
I was tempted to go Kucherov at 3. I was. But Austin Matthews got to be the guy.
And then Nikita Kucherov goes fourth, Leon Draisaitl fifth. So out of the gate, everything that we've expected.
I feel like we've been here before. I feel like we've seen this.
And we'll see what Spencer with the old Maple Leaf does there.
Let's see if anyone's paying attention here to the show on a weekly basis.
Pasternak goes, okay, so your first 6 out of the box, those are the 6 guys that always go.
Is there any of those from 4 to 6? Is there any of those guys you would flip?
No, and
Oh!
there goes Kel McCarr. So, Chris, not going to get him again.
This is our 10th mock draft? 1 for 10.
Yeah, man. Wow. David's paying attention. Chris is trying to see how
I
far
specifically put myself in the 9 hole so I could take him.
All right, I know. So there goes Mikko Rantanen. Chris on the clock here as I'm about to make.
I feel
my
like
next
that would have
pick.
been Chris's other pick as well.
Listen, I know we
Yes.
are a hockey podcast, but going on in Oakland right now, I saw a beer thrown onto the field a couple innings ago. Now there's fans on the field in the top of the 9th here. They are going to go out with a fight, these Oakland fans. Keep an eye on that if you have access to watching that game. So the Fuzzy Chris takes JT Miller, guy we've all talked about, known and love here. And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I love taking Brady Tkachuk at the end of a round or at the beginning of the second round. Now the question is, what am I going to do with the second pick here? As tempted as I am to go with a Jack Hughes or an Artemi Panarin, I am not going to get caught with my proverbial you-know-what in my hands, and I am taking a defenseman early. I've got Quinn Hughes. I'm addressing the lack of defense early.
Smart. It's smart.
I get one part of the equation here. One part.
One part. I still got a while to go, but I at least have a cornerstone. I would have liked to have taken Jack Hughes there, but I did not want to see a sea of green in front of me again for a 8th out of 10 weeks.
Yeah. Can't have that happen to you again.
No. All right. So Kaprizov Miller is the pairing that Chris goes with. I go with a Brady Tkachuk Quinn Hughes. Let's see here. Next up, we've got Mikko Rantanen, Artemi Panarin pairing there for David. For James with David on the clock here. He took McCarr.
I'm still really hurt by David. David, are you here?
And that's a Matthew.
On purpose?
And that's a Matthew Tkachuk McCarr pairing. I like that as well as your top 2 there.
David, if you're here, respond in the chat.
Let us know.
We want to know.
I just want to talk, David. I just want to talk.
And our first goalie off the board at pick 2.5, Igor Shesterkin goes to Spencer. So a Pasternak Shesterkin pairing. And there he is. Calypso says he's here.
Hey,
Nice icon. Love the golf cart.
Thanks. First time listener? Damn, David. Okay. I'll be nice.
Welcome to the team.
I can't. David, there's no way you're a first time listener and you go with Cale Makar there. That is pain.
It's just the word's out on him. I mean,
7 to pick Makar. That is wild.
If you want to safely grab him, that's the spot, is 7. Anything before that, it should be the 6 we talk about. I've seen Makar go a couple of spots before that, but 7 is probably your safest bet where you're guaranteed to get him and don't have to overshoot.
Wow. First time caller. Let me take Cale Makar here. Damn. So people are doing this. I thought I was special. I am so basic.
It may be. I mean, that's a whole other issue you may have to resolve and sort out for yourself after we're off the air today. But nonetheless, so after Igor Shesterkin goes, we've got a Leon Draisaitl, Jack Hughes combo there for Alonzo, strong out of the gate. Good right wing, left wing pairing there with Kucherov and Forsberg for Jagmet. And then Ant takes William Nylander. So he's got a pair of Leafs out of the gate to start. And there goes Sam Reiner to
I didn't go yet. I didn't go yet.
Okay. Now you're on the clock again after Bouchard, Yossi, and Crosby go there to tail out the second round and begin the third round.
Wow, that was a killer on the defense there. So I guess I'm going to have to take mine. I'm going to take the captain. I'm going to take the newly crowned captain, Rasmus Dahlin.
So there we go. So if you're talking the first 5 defensemen off the board, that has pretty much stayed consistent there with Makar, Hughes, Bouchard, Yossi, and Dahlin. Jagmet takes Elias Pettersson there. So good, pretty good top line there, the mix. Braden Point, so 3 centers out of the gate there. for Draisaitl, but he can play the left wing, so it looks like you go Hughes, Point as your centers and make Draisaitl your left wing there. For Alonso, on the clock now with Spencer. He took David Pastrnak at 1-6 and Shesterkin at 2-5. He's on the clock right now at 3-6, and he takes Jason Robertson there. So there we go. And let's see here. David on the clock. Let's see what he goes. He took Makar in the first round, Kachuk in the second round. See what he does here.
I'm sorry, guys. I did take William. I must have been zoned out on that pick.
Must have been, but nonetheless, you got a pair of Leafs to start.
I'll
Not
take
a bad
that.
way to go. And he takes
what size do you want your Leafs jersey in?
Yeah.
I thought I was the Leafs fan here. Mitch Marner, speaking of Leafs, he just goes there to David. So Kachuk, Marner, and Makar gets Mitch Marner at 3-7. Here we go with James on the clock. I got to figure out what I'm taking here.
I was so thrown off with David picking Makar. It just threw me right off. I wasn't even zoned in out right there.
See, I know who I want if Chris doesn't take him here. So let's see. And he takes Hellebuck, so he gets his goalie. I always like to have a share of Edmonton's power play somewhere, and I can get that with Zach Hyman. So that gets that off the board now. I don't think I can wait for a goaltender here. I got basically 2 full rounds before it gets back to me. So without further ado, UC Saros is the guy I've been getting in most of my mock drafts, and I'm very happy with that, right around that 3rd, 4th round spot. So there we go. So I'll bookend the 3rd round and the beginning of the 4th round with Zach Hyman and UC Saros.
It's kind of who I wanted, but I was happy with either or.
Now Chris will make his 4th round pick.
Old habits die hard. It's just like Jake Gensel's just hanging around in the 4th round. Just you're like, okay.
And that's the thing. In the 4th round, there's nothing wrong with that.
I know it's a 10-team league, but still, he's hanging out in the 4th round.
Hanging out. You got to take him. And the Oakland A's, they win their last ever game at the Oakland Coliseum 3-2. That just goes final. So good on the fans that got to go today and celebrate and enjoy the last time the A's will take the field in the city of Oakland. Now we got James back on the clock here. 4th round pick 4.3. He's got a right wing and Mikko Rantanen, a left wing and Artemi Panarin, a defenseman and Adam Fox. Does he get this purple wave going here? Does he take a goalie? We shall see. Looks like the clock, it looks like it might have frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay, just needed to be updated. So he takes Jake Ottinger there. So he does indeed go with the goaltender there. So it's your first 4 off the board. It's Shesterkin, Hellebuck, Saros, Ottinger, which makes sense. Victor Hedman. So David gets his 2nd defenseman there. Listen, there's a 1-2 punch. That's pretty damn good. Jack Eichel, first center for Spencer there. Then Chris Kreider goes to Alonso. Sergei Bobrovsky to Jagmit. So we're starting to see a little bit of a goalie run here. See what Anthony does. And he continues it with Vasilevsky, and you can't wait any further. And now I am glad that I took Saros and I didn't get caught with a goalie the way I usually get caught with a lack of defenseman.
Our Adam is growing up.
Partially. All right, so we wrap up the 4th round there. Kyle Connor at 4-9, Tage Thompson 4-10, and then Svechnikov to open the 5th round. Certainly some value there. And there goes Alex Ovechkin at 5-2. Connor Bedard goes at 5-3, 10-team league, 5th round. That's about where he's going to go. So Ant building out a nice team. He's got Matthews and Bedard as his centers, and Nylander, Dahlin, Vasilevsky. There goes Moritz Seider. So first defenseman for Jagmit there with Alonso on the clock, and he has yet to take a defenseman or a goalie.
I feel like that's going to change here.
I feel like we got to see a green coming soon. I'm just excited that I'm for once I'm happy with how I'm always happy with how my draft is going early, but I really like my team so far. There goes Jeremy Swayman. So he was a guy that was going in that Saros, Ottinger, Hellebuck range. He's fallen a little bit now with the contract dispute. Spencer on the clock here. See who he took. Jack Eichel at 4-5 last round, and then he had Ilya Sorokin. So there we go. We'll see. Interesting to see if he grabs Varlamov later or how he handles that. David yet to take a goaltender. We'll see if he's going to wait or if he's going to try and get in on the train here. Chris on the clock in a couple of picks. I'm right after him. See if Chris snipes me here coming up. And there goes Noah Dobson. So he's building from the blue line out here, David. Not a bad way to go. And you got to start 4 defensemen. James on the clock here. See how that affects the movement of defensemen in the upcoming picks. James grabs his first center, Sebastian Aho at pick 5.8. And now Chris on the clock here. Let's see if he snipes my guy. I know who I'm taking with one of my 2 picks, as long as you don't take him.
Okay.
So you're probably going to take him.
Let's start here.
And there he goes.
Was that your pick?
That was my pick.
Oof.
There you go. So you got me. You got me on one snipe. There you go. Good
Nailed
job.
It. Getting better.
You are getting better. All right. So the first of my 2 picks here. Take Adrian Kempe. I know that's Anthony's guy, but good pick there at the end of the 5th round. Now let's open the 6th round. Yeah, I can't. I want to take. See, there's a guy I want, but I feel like I'm reaching on him if I grab him here. But sometimes you got to get the guys you want to get, and he's going to be the top defenseman in Utah. So there we go. I know there's McAvoy on the board. I know there's Heiskanen on the board, but sometimes you go for the guys you really want and that you believe are going to have a big year. And I am big on Mikhail Sergachev.
I mean, if you're just going to gift me Dougie Hamilton, I guess we'll take it.
You can take the missed time. That's fine. But we do start to see a sea of green going here. There goes Miro Heiskanen. So James takes him, even though I pass on him. I don't know if David goes with a 4th defenseman and just finishes it up. I don't know if I do that. He's still got to get a goalie and a center. But with a Hedman, McCarr, Dobson, 1, 2, 3 on the blue line. Yeah, and then he goes and gets Sasha Barkov there. Selke favorite, and will likely take it again. Talked about the NHL awards odds earlier. If you want to go back and review, or if you're watching later on, go to the full episode if you're just watching on the mock draft video that comes out on Mondays. We got Spencer on the clock here. No defenseman for him yet. So you hear about a 0 running back strategy in football sometimes. He's going 0D right now. And Brad Marchand goes for Spencer, then Wyatt Johnston to Alonzo. That's got to bother Anthony a little bit because I'm sure he was thinking about Johnston there with his upcoming pick. There goes Steven Stamkos. And Ant's on the clock right now. State of Survival checking in. He's late. Yeah, we're happy to have you whenever you get here.
Late? I mean, you're early somewhere in one time zone, probably.
Somewhere. And once this draft is over, I will throw the Total Hockey Now League link back in the comment section for anybody. Well, we still got a few spots remaining before next Thursday's draft at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Anthony making his pick here, it looks like. Clock winds down. Oh, no. Just the screen got screwed on me again. He takes Charlie McAvoy there, then Brock Besser to Omar. Pair of goalies for Nuno to Alexander Georgiev and Jacob Markstrom. Stuart Skinner to Omar there. So we are seeing our run of top-tier goalies going off the board. Ant gets his first Devil with Jesper Bratt. Yet again, Anthony just quietly putting together a really strong team. That's just what he does.
And then once we hit the real draft, that's when I will have my bad draft. That'll be the kicker.
Let's just keep doing this for the next 12 hours. Great practice, this State of Survival. I would love to live in a world where we just do mocks all day. I mean, I try to do one a day on my phone while I'm watching TV at night before bed, but yeah, I would love to live in a world where we just mock all day. Does Hannafin in Vegas interest anyone? As a defenseman, as like a third, fourth defenseman if you're strong, third defenseman if you waited a little bit, sure, yeah.
I'm trying to find a path for Hannafin to the top power play unit because I feel like that's Shea Theodore's spot, and I'm not too keen on defensemen who don't get a top power play spot unless it's crazy value.
Still a lot of quality out here right now. James on the clock here. Took Miro Heiskanen with the last pick. He's on the clock with 7.8. The last 3 picks were Matthew Barzal, Vincent Trocheck, and then Tim Stutzel at 7.7 there. So still no defenseman for Spencer, still no defenseman for Alonso. They see what we're doing. They, as Chris likes to say, when we're zigging, they're zagging.
That's unfortunate.
There goes Clayton Keller, certainly somebody I was considering at that pick, and apparently Chris was going to take him.
That's literally who I had lined up. Take a shot in the dark here. Start with that.
Joseph Wall goes there. Let's see here. I don't want to do that yet. I got to make a decision here real soon. All right, you know what? Joel Eriksson, I'm going to take that. Top line center, gets your categories across the board. So that'll fill out. That's my one of my centers there. And then I feel like if I don't do this, the run is going to happen. And much like to a lesser degree with Edmonton, where I want to share that top power play unit. Same thing with the Toronto Maple Leafs here. So I could go Morgan Riley. I could go Brandon Montour. But for the sake of this draft, I'm going to take Morgan Riley. And Chris back on the clock here after taking Joseph Wall last round. There goes Dylan Larkin, another quality center there, a guy we've talked about on Total Hockey Now many, many times about how if you whiff or miss on some of the better centers, he's certainly not a bad consolation prize.
Did Dylan Larkin hurt somebody? His ADP was at 90. Maybe nobody has confidence in the Yzerman plan.
Got a question in the chat here from State of Survival. Let me ask, whose record will get beat first? Matthews beating Sundin's goal record or for the Leafs, or Ovi beating the Gretzky goal record? I have to double check how far away Austin Matthews is from Matt Sundin's goal record there. Rupe Hintz, another center off the board. So 3 of the last 4 picks are true centers there. Make it 4 of the last 5. Carter Verhaeghe. There goes Travis Konechny at to Spencer at 8.5. Freddie Anderson at 8.6. Mika Zibanejad at 8.7. So there we go. Ant's on the clock now. We'll see what he does with his next pick here. But a lot of, we'll call that bronzish tan on the board right now, which means a lot of centers are going.
I want to say, just to answer State of Survival's question here, I would think it. I think it's Ovi. I think Ovi's got a better shot. They already feed Ovi the puck a ton. I feel like anytime there's an empty net this year, like it's his. He's less than 50 away too, so like it's there for Ovi. I think he can do it.
It's 52 goals for Matthews to get there to tie Sundin.
52. I mean that's very doable for him. That's doable for Matthews.
It might be a photo finish if you consider their rates of scoring. It could very well be like they're keeping track of both at the same time.
It's definitely close.
It's close. So after Zibanejad, Gustav Forsling goes, who is a guy that Parker, the underbetter, talked about earlier, being one of the best defensive defensemen in the league there. So then after him, Thatcher Demko finally goes to Omar. So he gets Skinner and Demko in back-to-back rounds, 7-2 and 8-9 on those picks. And then Seth Jarvis to close out round 8. Matt Boldy opens up round 9. Then we got Devon Taves, Cole Caulfield, John Tavares, Mackenzie Weegar, Brandon Montour, Kevin Fiala, and now James on the clock here. We'll see what he does. Draft's moving along here. Still pretty happy with my team.
Did you do that on purpose, Ant?
I'm feeling fantastic right now. I'm feeling absolutely fantastic.
Well, you know what? If I can't get the winger, I might as well get his centerman.
So there goes
you go. Come on.
I'll take Nick here instead.
You knew that was the right move.
First time I've taken Nick Suzuki in our mock drafts. Good to be here.
I mean, let's see here. I got 15 seconds to make a pick. The fact that Nugent Hopkins is still out there, I don't think that's a bad value pick here to close out that round. Definitely have my share of left wing centers and right wings. Now let's take a look. I don't know if what pick are we at right now? I'm not going to wait any longer on this guy because he's not going to be around by the time he gets back. He's a guy who I've been targeting a lot as my number 2 goaltender in many of our mock drafts and the ones I do on my own. But Darcy Kemper, I'm a big believer that he's going to have a very good season with the Kings, and he'll be a reliable goalie too.
That is not who I thought you were going to take when you
Really?
said that.
Okay. Glad I can throw the occasional curveball at you.
Yeah.
There's a spot that opened up on Tampa Bay's power play, and it's going to be filled by Brandon Hagel. And I feel like good things can come from that. Anytime you get to play next to Nikita Kucherov, good things will happen.
Hagel, a guy that does get overlooked and forgotten about at times, but I know Anthony's a fan of his, but yeah, he's going to get that increased playing time there in Tampa. Now I think I know who you thought I was going to take, Ant.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it, but
I'm a little shocked.
So there goes Jacob Chikrin to James with David on the clock now. He takes Owen Tippett. There goes Luke Hughes, Vince Dunn. So some green going here in the last couple of rounds with Bagbit on the clock here. Let's move this down a little bit. So there goes Alex DeBrincat after Vince Dunn. And now Ant's on the clock.
Yeah, it's about time to close out the defense. Darlene, McAvoy, Forsling. This guy took Luke Hughes, so I'm going to take a page out of your guys' book. I'm taking Brock Faber to close out my defense.
Love that pick. He's a guy that I try to get as my number 3 defenseman when I wait a little bit. Not in that position today, but again, Ant just quietly putting together a rock solid team.
This is the best I felt about a team. So it's glad that we get to the end and we feeling really like I think I've had good teams, but I'm feeling really good about this one.
We got 6 rounds to go here as Jonathan Marchessault closes out round 10, and Nuno is going to be up here for pick 11.1. A lot of green there. Looks like a lot of green the last few rounds. Green and gold.
Here we go again with Ant taking the players I want. Next time I'm going in front of him.
I moved out of your way so you could draft Cale Makar. I said, let me go to the front of the room.
I still didn't get him. I still didn't get him.
See, you were focused on trying to screw me when you should have been trying to screw
Anthony. I just can't. I can't get a hold of Cale. Can't get a hold of him.
Well, Adam, you talked about the goalies, and this is who I thought you were talking about, and it's Connor Ingram. So I'm going to take him.
Ingram, I have Kemper above Ingram that on my pecking order. But if for some reason like somebody would have taken him, or if I would have waited and he had gone, I would have hoped he would have gotten back to me. But now I know he probably wouldn't have. So glad I did what I did. All right, so Mike Matheson, I'm sure that was a defenseman. Chris was on his list. Brent Burns, Phil Peronic, and now David on the clock here. So defenseman, we're in that phase of the draft where people are filling out those defensive spots on their rosters. There goes Aiden Hill. And now James on the clock here with 11-8. And then Chris coming up after him, and then myself. I know who I want with both of my picks here. The question is, will I get him?
I'm going to try to take one.
I know. Damn it. I know who you're going to take already. Just remember, I get to give it right back to you. There goes Jordan Kyrou at 11-8 with Chris on the clock. And yeah, you know what? Fine. If that's how you want to play, fine. There goes Slavkovsky.
Hey!
Yeah. Good for you.
That's
what I thought I could. I figured if I took Slavkovsky, you were going to take Lafreniere. So I was like, well, which one do I want more? And in hindsight, I probably should have taken Slavkovsky because he hits. But I was like, but Lafreniere can get the point. So I feel like this was a lose-lose for me no matter what.
And just because I know you love him as a defenseman, I'm taking Werenski. Just because all you had to do is take Lafreniere. I would have taken Lafreniere.
I have made no friends today. None.
There you go. There you go.
That's not true. Parker, apparently. Somebody is okay with me being here.
He's going to be the only one that comes over when you invite people over for the Falcons game on Sunday. Big game against the Saints early in the season, by the way.
I'm not even watching. Hold on. No!
He timed out and he gets Carlson.
It's not bad, but it's not what I wanted.
Who would you have taken there had you not been distracted?
I can't say that.
I know. You know what? I know who you would have taken. I'm looking at who's there. I know who your guy is.
You did this to me, Adam.
No, you did this to yourself by taking him off from there.
Wait. I got the ball rolling. I feel like I poked you with a fork, and then you just stabbed me with a sword all the way back, and I was just so perplexed that I was like, oh my god, like I got ran over, and then I couldn't focus. Oh, John Carlson was who I wanted.
I figured that's the guy. And hey, buddy, I'm from Brooklyn. You come at me with that, I'm coming back.
Look at that, just great. Look at that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 defensemen in a row. I thought I could get a piece of it. I need Erik Karlsson I need him to return to 100 points. I need 100 points out of Erik Karlsson.
It's possible. Maybe there's a little Pittsburgh resurgence this year, and Karlsson is the guy that leads the charge on the blue line.
Yeah, this draft is not great, but it's not terrible.
This might be my best one of the season. I am so happy with this draft.
You guys are having fun. You guys, it's good though. You guys are
as long as some of us are. Tomas Hertl. Love the Tomas Hertl pick. He's been rising in mock drafts there as the number 2 center in Vegas at pick 12.8. Pretty good there. And then 12.9 is Brady Shea, and Nikolai Ehlers rounds out round 12. Elias Lindholm opens up round 13 along with Blake Coleman, and now Anthony on the clock. Let's see who he takes here with just 4 picks to go.
Why? Let me take Jeff Skinner here.
Good pick. Gonna play on that line with Draisaitl. At least that's how it looks. But remember the Oilers top 6. We all want to have a piece of that, right?
We do.
Jeremy Lauzon, Robert Thomas, Brock Nelson all going here. But David on the clock. There goes Mark Scheifele, Thomas Harley, and now Chris back on the clock here. I got to be ready to make my pick. What am I going to do? Chris has got a decision to make. Let's see here. So he takes Lucas Raymond, a guy I was considering, but not somebody that I'm going to lose some sleep over here, but would have taken him had Chris not taken him. You know, I want to grab another right wing here. There's a lot of options I can go with. You know, I'm looking at Drake Batherson. I don't understand why he falls so much. I know he's Ottawa, but he still shoots the puck. He gets hits. But I got a feeling Martin Necas is going to do something this year. So I'm going to take him with that first pick. And then let's see here. Want to have a good 5th defenseman, and just to really stick it to Chris, another guy he likes to take, Seth Jones.
Oh, okay. I didn't think that was going there. I can't wait because he's not coming around. And the projection is, I just want you to know, Yahoo hasn't projected at 49 points this season. Okay, 49.
So yeah, you're not going to wait anymore on him because he might.
I can't. I wanted to wait for him as he's coming back, but all of you here have decided I am the scapegoat today. I am the one. Even if you're here for the first time, the aura, they're just like, this looks like a guy Chris would take.
All right, so Batherson, Kane, and Tuck, all wings go after Lane Hudson and Pekka Luukkonen. And then Nazem Kadri there to Jagbit. Anthony gets Matvei Mishkov, who we talked about earlier. Again, just Anthony quietly going about his business. And then Evander Kane, Jake Sanderson rounds out round 14. Coming up on round 15 here, 2 rounds to go. Everybody's got 2 picks remaining. Let's fill out these rosters. There goes Aaron Ekblad, who's a guy I've noticed in mocks that just like sits there and hangs out there. And it's like, why? Like he's still like, listen, he's for a number 4 defenseman on a fantasy team. I'll take that. There goes Mark Stone. 15.2. And gets Chris Letang there. So filling out the back end of his blue line. Pierre Kochetkov goes, Jamie Benn, Frank Vetrano, and now David on the clock here. Gets Tom Wilson, Mason Marchment, and now Chris on the clock again.
I think the fact that I have a Bratt and Caulfield going left wing, right wing is very helpful for when I'm going through my lineup on a daily basis.
One of the guys we talked about for Rookie of the Year, Logan Stankoven, is who Chris takes. And I like, he's a guy I've been getting in the last couple of rounds of our drafts here. Jake DeBrusk, I feel like should have a nice season with Vancouver there. The left wing, right wing eligibility, certainly not a bad guy to put on your bench. And I need one more goalie to close things out here. So I see Jordan Binnington there. I see some, actually, the fact that Binnington's still out there, fine, I'll take him. There's other guys I usually take as my last goalie, but if Binnington's still sitting out there in round 16 as a third goalie, sure, why not? I mean, is Joel Hofer really ready to take over the lion's share yet? I don't think so. Chris has to make his last pick here. Let's see here. Got a question in the chat. Whose top four is better, the Sabres or the Panthers? Let's take a look. So evaluate them because the Sabres, we talked about Rasmus Dahlin earlier.
That's a good one there.
So the Sabres
Is that
top
your
four.
second goalie, Chris, or your third?
That is my third. I needed some insurance.
So Philip Gus, we'll answer that question in a minute. Let's round out the draft here. Jordan Binnington, Philip Gustafson, Trevor. Yeah, here goes the goalie wave to close it out. Tristan Jarry, Ilya Samsonov, Logan Thompson, Bo Horvat lasting to that late in the draft. Pretty good. That's a great pick by Jagmet there with Anthony on the clock here. His final pick. He needs a third goaltender. See what he does. He gets the other. He goes with the Utah handcuff. Not a bad way to play that. There goes Varlamov. With Stuart
I was tempted on Askarov. I really was. I had my hand on the trigger.
I think he's going to be a really good goalie, but I don't know. Fantasy wise, not this year.
Yeah.
Next year. This year he learns and takes his lumps. Last pick of the draft coming up here.
Who is Tampa Bay's backup goalie? Because I didn't see him on here.
Who knows?
Jim Johansson. I think he was last year. And then the last pick of the draft there was Gustav Nyquist. Certainly not a bad way to go to get inside that Nashville top six as a roster fill out position there. So let's go through our three teams quick. We'll talk with State of Survival's team. We'll put a wrap on this. Another lovely edition of Total Hockey Now here. Appreciate
State of Survival on this.
He was late to the draft. So
he was late to the meeting.
Late to the meeting. Let's start with Anthony's team here. So we quietly just putting together a top-notch team. I'll let you break it down.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to spread myself out with different draft positions. I think this is the first time I picked third, I think. Because I picked fourth and got Austin Matthews. So I went Austin Matthews number one. It was either him or Nikita Kucherov for me, but I went Austin Matthews. The only auto pick I got was William Nylander, which I'm not upset about because I got a little tandem there. So I think I'm going to get some points out of that. A little stack there. Rasmus Dahlin, I had to get in on defense because they were starting to go a little bit. Once Roman Josi went, I had to make the move. Andre Vasilevsky as the goalie, same thing. The goalies were moving, so I had to take him. Connor Bedard falling at 5. I feel like that's the spot, like you said, Adam, where to take him. So Connor Bedard was definitely where I went. Charlie McAvoy on defense as well. And then, Jesper Bratt and Cole Caulfield are left wing and right wing eligible. So I took them both there. Gustav Forsling as well with the defense. Finished defense off with Brock Faber. I'm very excited about the defense of that, even though this doesn't matter because it's a mock draft, but it felt good for me. Connor Ingram was my second goalie. You talked about him a lot, and that's who I thought you were actually taking. You went with Darcy Kemper, but we had been talking about Ingram a lot, and I thought that's who you meant. But then short up my center with Tomas Hertl out of Vegas. Jeff Skinner, like you said, got to get some points out of that team in Edmonton, and I feel like Jeff Skinner is going to have a bounce back this year. Michkov is definitely a guy that I'm always going to be targeting. Like, you target Celebrini. Michkov is my guy right now. Chris has Hudson, so that's how that crumbles there. And Chris Letang is if he's my bench guy coming off of defense, I think I'm in pretty good standing there to have him be my fifth defenseman. And then I was going to stack the goalie, so I went with Vijmelka, that if I said his name correctly.
The Michkov pick's low risk, high reward. 14th round. You get a guy that could potentially score 30 goals, maybe have 30 assists. Why not? And if it doesn't pan out, it was a 14th round pick. Who cares?
Yep. Coming off the bench, it was so in case Tortorella benches him, I'll bench him. So that'll be it.
Now we always do one, viewer listener team since David's new to the group today. Let's take out his team. The guy who took Kale McCarr away from Chris. So he goes McCarr round 1, Matthew Kachuk round 2, Mitchell Marner round 3, Victor Hedman round 4, Noah Dobson round 5. So out of the gate, gets his wings, gets his 2 wings, gets 3 really good defensemen. And hey, he doesn't even have to play all 3 of those defensemen all year. Somebody loses, one of those could be a nice defense trading chip if you sustain an injury somewhere else. Then goes right down the middle, Barkov, Stutzel, and Verhage. Stutzel and Verhage also have wing eligibility there as well. Fiala, Owen Tippett could have a big year in Philadelphia. Waits on goalies for a long time. Does not value the position that much, and that's okay if you're going to punt the categories. Still gets a quality option in Aiden Hill there. Then gets his 4th defenseman in John Carlson, who Chris meant to take instead of Eric Carlson. Wrong Carlson there. It happens.
That might be the best defense.
Probably is the best defense. I mean, when you go with McCarr, Hedman, Dobson, it's really tough to compete with that. Otherwise, you want to throw, Bouchard, Yossi, but then you got Sands. I would say maybe my defensive group is probably second best with Hughes, Sergachev, and Riley as a top 3. But nonetheless, David really finishes the draft strong, gets Batherson with some value late, gets his second goalie with Jarry, who should start, even though he didn't look so good last year. I doubt they're going to go to Nedeljkovic again. For a long-term option. Tom Wilson there, he's going to get his hits. And good draft there by David. And Chris, it's on to you.
Yes, well done, David. So for obviously I went with JT Miller because I can never get Kale McCarr. JT Miller throws out hits, right? It's banger league. I can get a lot of categories right off the rip. Kirill Kaprizov, we know the drill, right? Connor Hellebuck, I feel like I got the second best goalie, so why not? Jake Gensel is just there. And then I wanted to make sure that I don't repeat the Adam effect, which is wait too long for defensemen. So Josh Morrissey, Dougie Hamilton, we settle that in. Joseph Wall, I mean, man, Toronto's going to win games. I just need Joseph Wall to be healthy. Please protect him. Oh, dear fantasy gods. Dylan Larkin, Nick Suzuki. I feel like some of them are getting slept on a little bit here. I feel like there's some good value there. Larkin can push a point per game. I maybe Suzuki can. They stay healthy. He plays a lot as well. Brandon Hagel, the power play time is there. Alexi Lafreniere, because I needed to spite Adam. Eric Carlson, the computer gods thought that's who I wanted. Lucas Raymond, some upside here, right? Apparently the Yzerman plan, I could stack him with Larkin as well, so I feel like there's some good correlation there. Lane Hudson, because he wasn't making it back, right? So I had no choice here. Logan Stankovic, right? Depending on where he plays, a top 6 role would be nice. That'd be kind of cool. If he could stick there, or if not, move all the way to the top line. And then I needed some assurance for my goaltending because I don't know if Joseph Wall can stay healthy. Philip Gustafson is there. I'm not really worried about Marc-Andre Fleury. Like he's older. I think Minnesota plays better. Philip Gustafson is going to get the bulk of the starts. At worst, this is a 10-team league. So if it doesn't work out, there's still goalies available. So I don't feel like I'm tied to what I take. If I needed the flexibility, I could go. I could pick up a goalie, injuries or whatnot. But that's where I had to go.
David checking in. Thanks, guys. My main focus was as many PP1 guys can't find power play points on the wire. And he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Power play points are the first things to go. Keep an eye on guys moving up units. Sometimes you got a guy that's on a second unit that tends to produce with the little time they have. But yeah, got to find those PP1 guys. A little bit of breaking news before we get to my team. Anaheim Ducks goaltender John Gibson underwent emergency appendectomy surgery last night. It's going to be out approximately 3 to 6 weeks. Of course, big incision in the middle of your body does hamper your ability to play the goaltending position. So he will take the time he needs. He's looking to come back probably here anywhere between mid-October to the early November. So,
and I would assume that that's a bigger deal with a maybe 14 team to longer type draft, because I haven't seen John. Maybe he went once in one of our drafts, but I have not seen him be taken at all.
There is zero faith in Gibson at this point as a fantasy goalie. Pretty much, 14-team league. Okay, yeah, he's a guy that's going to start, so you have to consider him. But outside of a 14-team league, you don't got to look at him.
Do you know who his backup is?
Lucas Dostal.
That's right. He's the guy expected to, slowly transition to being the guy, and he looked good last year when he did get his chances. So let's
maybe something to consider towards the end of a draft.
Something to consider there too if you're in a 14-team league, even with Dostal as well. Looking at my team, Brady Tkachuk right out of the gate, guy I'm always happy to get with, get at the end of the year. Quinn Hughes. So I did not want to make my mistake with defenseman. And I get Zach Hyman. So out of the gate, I've got a guy who got categories across the board, strong defenseman, strong winger that I could play on both sides, shore up my crease with UC Saro. So out of the gate, I'm happy. Adrian Kempe, certainly nothing wrong with that at 5'10". Yeah, I reached a little bit on Sergachev, but he is a defenseman I am big on this year with that increased role and minutes he's going to have in Utah. So, I could have easily taken McAvoy there. If Morrissey or Dobson's there's no way I'm passing up on those two. But, I could have done McAvoy, but I decided to go Sergachev instead. Joel Eriksson Ek there, not a flashy, sexy name, but certainly going to, again, like Chuck, fills up your categories across the board. Morgan Riley as a third defenseman, great. They're a draft where I'm lucky to have him as a second defenseman. Then the Nugent Hopkins pick at 9-10 is a value pick there, just getting a little bit more of that Edmonton top six. Darcy Kemper, guy, the way I am with Sergachev, he's a goaltender that I'm big on this year. I think he's going to have a very good year in Los Angeles. Then after Chris spited me with Lafreniere, I double spite him with Slavkovsky and Zach Werenski. So just sticking it to him there. And not just sticking it to him, but I think two good picks there. So it wasn't just a matter of trying to get at my buddy. I got to kill two birds with one stone. So I'm a happy camper there.
Yeah, this was like last week where you thought you were getting one on him, but this was like a double whammy on Chris.
Yeah,
so that's not for the year.
That one
Take
stung.
no prisoners. Take
And
no
Jones,
prisoners.
don't be spiteful during the draft.
It can come back to bite you. And then Martin Nachos, who we know wants out of Carolina, but he's going to have an increased role, and they're going to lean on him more for production. So I'll take that in the 13th round, at the end of the 13th round. Seth Jones, who I always punt plus minus, but we talked about Chicago being an actual team this year, so that should result in a little bit better stats for Seth Jones, and then Jake DeBrusk and Jordan Bennington to round out my team. So I'm really, really happy with that. It's probably my favorite one of the mock draft series. We did all 10 throughout the summer here. Big news for Dostal with all those off nights. Yeah, Anaheim is one of those teams that plays on a staggered, that kind of staggers their schedule a little bit. So maybe something to consider there. He thinks State of Survival's chiming in. He thinks Steven Stamkos is going to have a 100-point season. I got no problem with that. I agree.